All right, I'm going to go over the first question on the solving exponential equations quiz. So it might help some of you to make a do-undo chart. So I'm going to show you, if you're someone who likes those, I'm going to show you what that would look like because we didn't do any with the do-undo chart in class. But this is might seem awkward at first because when we're doing a do-undo chart, we're thinking, if I plugged in something for x, what would I do first? Well, look at where x is. It's in the exponent. So it's kind of awkward. Like, we're not going to multiply it by 5 because it's in the exponent of 5. We're not multiplying it by 2 because that wouldn't be the first step. We're not subtracting 100. That can't be the first step either. PEMDAS tells us to do our exponents first, but x is in the exponent. So what we'll just write is we would take the base of 5 and raise our number into its exponent. So like if I plugged in a 2 for x, the first thing I would do is 5 squared. If I plugged in a 3 for x, the first thing I would do is 5 to the third. So we'll just write, the first thing we would do is put whatever our x is into the exponent of 5. Now we just have to multiply by 2 and subtract 100. So multiplying comes before subtracting. So multiply by 2 and then subtract 100. So to undo those steps, the first thing we would do is add 100. The second thing we would do is divide by 2. And then again, this is the weird part. So remember when we were solving log equations, the inverse of log was to use exponents and to exponentiate. So now the inverse of exponentiating is going to be to use a log. So we're going to use log base 5 and put whatever we have into the log base 5. So this might help some of you to kind of cue each step. So the first step is to add 100 to both sides. And if you don't use the do-undo chart, just think you need to get 5 to the x by itself. So whatever number you have, wherever x is in the exponent, that's the part you need to get by itself. So we have to get rid of the minus 100 and the 2. So add 100 to both sides. We're left with 2 times 5 to the x equals 800 plus 100 gives us 900. Now remember, you can't multiply 2 times 5 because 2 is outside of the parentheses. It's not in the parentheses with 5. It's outside, so you can't multiply it with 5. We need to divide by 2 on both sides. So we're left with 5 to the x equals 900 divided by 2 gives you 450. So I don't always carry the parentheses in my last step because I know that x is only with 5. The reason we had parentheses before was to say that the exponent of x is only with 5 and not with 2. So it's fine if you write them, but I'm not going to. So now we're still kind of thinking about number lines here. We know that the jumps on our number line are the same as exponents. So if I'm looking for my exponent of x, then I'm looking for the number of jumps it would take me to get to 450 on a number line that multiplies by 5. So we can draw that out to get an idea of where we would land. So 1, 5, 25, 125, 625. And 450 is right somewhere in here. So I know that my answer should be like 1, 2, 3. It should be between 3 and 4. So we could guess like, okay, we should get something like 3.5. That's just to give us an idea. That's not going to be our answer, but that's just to give us an idea. So now we have to think, well, how can I actually get x by itself? And I know that I should be writing it with a log base 5. So I just need to rewrite what I have here using a logarithm. So this statement is saying, how many jumps does it take me to get from 1 to 450 on a number line that multiplies by 5? Well, that's the same as saying the number of jumps I need is log base 5 of 450. Log base 5 of 450 is asking the same thing. It's saying how many jumps does it take to get to 450 when you're multiplying by 5? Or in other words, what power do you have to raise 5 to get to 450? So if you're confused about this, just kind of focus on the fact that the base of 5 is always the base on the exponent that has x in it. And then what goes inside your log is always the number that you're trying to get to using your exponent. So now this is the part where we can put it in our calculator. So the way we put this in the calculator is log of what's inside the log, which is 450, divided by log of the base. So take a second to put that in your calculator. Make sure you can do it correctly. It's really important that you make sure you can do it correctly. So do log 450, enter, and then click divide log 5. Don't forget the log in the denominator, and don't forget to click enter in between each step. So I got 3.796 if you round the 5 up. So you should get used to rounding to 3 decimal places, but if you round a little differently, the quiz would still accept a close answer.